What's up, guys? Ariannaarmani here, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. Be sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. So today I'm going to be talking about my experience with the spinning babies techniques, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about why I had to do these things. But before I get into all of that, I just want to put this disclaimer out here. I am not a doctor, I am not a doula, I'm not a midwife, I am no sort of medical professional. This video is just me talking about my experience and the things that I did and why I had to do it. This is in no way any sort of medical advice of any sort. I'm not advising you, I'm not giving recommendations. I'm literally just talking about me and my experience. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there before I get like the comments or people out here trying things that I've said as if I'm a doctor and then something happens and you get hurt. I want to be very clear. I am not a doctor. I am not giving any sort of advice in this video. I'm literally just talking about one of my experiences while being pregnant, just like I have in past videos. So with that being put out there and made perfectly clear, let's talk about it. When I went to the doctors for my 37-week checkup, which was a couple of weeks ago, no, 36-week checkup, they checked the position of the baby. Now, I already knew what position the baby was in because just over the course of my pregnancy, I've gotten really good at like establishing what part of the baby was what, because early on I had a lot of sonograms and I just started connecting the pictures in the sonograms to what I felt. So 9 times out of 10, I was pretty sure I already knew what position the baby was in. Now, my baby is in what is called the Occiput posterior position, and I'm gonna add the picture and the diagram that that I got from the midwife that kind of explains it a little bit. But basically what it is my baby is head down, but the entire body is leaned up against my right side, but is up. Legs and everything are on facing towards the right, so I feel most of the movement of the baby on that side. Now, baby's been like that for months. Originally it wasn't an issue, but as we get closer to the time that I could be giving birth, the issue then comes if the baby stays on that side. Then it makes labor a little bit longer, birth a little bit more complicated, just because the baby is not in the optimal position to come out. They want the baby to be in this other position called the Occiput anterior position, where the baby's back and stuff is on my right side, and the baby is facing, the face of the baby is facing towards my back, so that they come out of the birth canal the correct way. The position that baby is currently in will cause baby to come out face up, nose up, which can cause complications for me and the baby. They didn't really specify what those complications were. They just said it'll make it a little bit more difficult because baby's supposed to come out head down. Some ways that you can tell if your baby is also facing this way, and like I said, not a medical professional, these are things that I experienced and I felt that also aligned with like the information sheet they gave me. So you feel a lot of the baby's movements and punches and stuff like directly towards the front of your body, which I did. Your abdomen may appear flat below your belly button, which I actually talked about in my last video when I was talking about how sometimes my belly button appears and reappears. That's actually caused by the way that the baby is facing. Yeah, so that's how I figured that out, but they told me that. So when I went to the doctors, they told me that there were some things that I could try to get the baby to shift to that side, and if it didn't work, I would possibly be doing these same things during the birth, like doing spinning babies during the birth, which is not uncommon because women also do this when their baby is like completely breech and things like that. So after the appointment, I called my doula and she said she would come over and demonstrate some of the things that I could do to help get the baby to move into the optimum position. So she came and she showed me a couple things. I will actually put clips from the day that she was here in the video so that you can see it. But before that, I'll just talk you through some of the things that I didn't record. So, one thing she told me I could do is to put my leg up on the step so it's lightly elevated and do some lunges. Making sure not to go like too far or too deep, but just lunging forward a little bit. Also leaning, holding onto like the steps or a firm surface like the table or the side of the bed, and doing like some deep squats and holding it. And then the one that I do most often, because it's the easiest for me, is sitting on a medicine ball, and then I will fill up this little ice thingy that people don't put on their head. I'll fill this up with ice and put it on the side of my stomach where the baby sits, just to encourage the baby to want to like move away from the cold and discomfort and shift to the other side. She also taught me 2 other things that I have to do assisted. So my mom and aunt were here, taught me with that, but they are just like putting pressure on the hips, and this other technique called shaking the apple tree, which those videos will be inserted next. But the goal of all of that is just to really open up the hips so that the baby can kind of come up out of the birth canal a little bit where their head is down my pelvis and turn themselves. Other things that I have been doing, I feel like I'm missing one. Making sure that I'm sleeping on my left side, which I always do, so I don't know why the baby picked the opposite side to sleep on. And there was something else. Oh, and the last thing, getting into polar bear position, which is basically when you are laying with your butt as high up in the air as you can, legs slightly kind of spread open, but not enough so your stomach is touching anything, and like laying in that position for as long as possible. That just gives the baby some space to kind of like slide up with the help of gravity and hopefully twist over. But yeah, those are things that I have been doing. Now, after 1 week of doing them, so from my 36th to my 37th, when I went to my 37-week appointment, the midwife confirmed that the baby had moved. I was ecstatic. I got lazy though, thinking that, you know, baby had moved, I wouldn't have to do anymore. I woke up yesterday, which would be Sunday, in the beginning of my 38th week. I guess you guys will be seeing this at the beginning of my 39th. But I woke up and I could tell, just because, like I said, I'm really in tune with my body, and when the baby moves, that the baby had moved back to the other side. So I'm starting over. And I will be doing the techniques again, just to get the baby to hopefully shift back. It took a few days the first time, but I could feel in my sleep when the movement actually happened, because like I said, I'm very in tune with it. And it was very uncomfortable. It like woke me up out of my sleep just because I could feel the baby moving. I could feel the soreness and the stiffness. I woke up the next day feeling very like tight on the left side, because you know baby has been sitting on the right and stretching those ligaments. So when it switched over to the left, I could just tell the difference in the weight distribution. So that's that, and I will insert the videos from that session after this.
And then, yeah, again, I was a little bit tighter on this side, but
I think it's because that's the opposite side of where the baby sits.
got you.
You supposed to have your leg draped, Ari?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just paying attention. You wasn't listening.
I was going to say. Not picture. That's like still ain't draped.
Mm-mm.
It is.
I didn't want to pull that out too much. Oh, it's fine. Come up in here with it. Most people like instinctively
Try not to fall.
Right. No, I'm like, most people are trying to keep themselves from rolling off, and I'm like, I don't know. So this is something we can do like early labor, before labor, like now, but even like during, if you're able to tolerate being on your side, as long as it's comfortable. And again, it's just kind of forcing this right here to kind of relax and give a little bit. That way we can kind of create a little bit more space in there for baby to move around a little bit. I know a lot of times people talk about like, oh, I wasn't able to dilate, like I wasn't able to do things. Like a lot of times it's just space in there, everything's so tight. And they can move in.
So with you doing that, what is that doing now? Just loosening up the hips now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But those muscles, so like you can come on your back. So like those muscles and your, can you get on hands and knees?
I had them real big.
So.
Oh, whichever y'all might find comfortable. So for this one, top of her hips, and sometimes we'll see how it
I'm gonna come this way one. You can.
Sometimes I tend to go to like towards the bottom of people's butt cheeks. This is shaking the apple tree. And again, it's just in terms of like relaxing stuff here, but sometimes it can also kind of force baby to move in a different position, which sometimes we need. And so literally it's just as how it sounds. That's it.
It actually feels good on my back though.
So again, it's the same thing, like early labor, it can be really helpful because sometimes it might just be like a counter pressure thing. If baby is kind of like, if you're in earlier labor, but things aren't necessarily like going super fast. Like, yeah, it's just early, we chilling, so you can still kind of do this and it might feel a little bit good as pressure starts to build here. Because baby is up here and like high up. As they come down, it can still feel a little bit better, but you might have to take your knees out a little bit wider. And really, you wouldn't need to go beyond that. I know a lot of people have the assumption that like your knees got to be like way out here to have a baby, but physiologically speaking, that's highly
What was all this 19, 20 something?
You know what?
Years ago.
Well, that's what's funny. In the 20s, midwives did this.
Oh, they did.
And in the 20s, you had other women who also had babies who would come do it for you, but we're a little bit more spread
We
out.
got involved and
Yeah, everything went, because I know I talked to another woman,
Okay, so that is it. I hope that was helpful. I hope the picture was helpful. Like I said, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, just expressing like why I had to do it or why I'm having to do it now, and what some of the steps were that I've taken. I will say that the steps that I took did work. I just didn't realize that I would have to keep doing them even after the baby moved. So now I'm starting over. But as long as baby is in an optimal position the day I go into labor, things should go a little bit more smoothly. They never said that I couldn't give birth to baby if baby was on the left side. I mean on the right hand side of my body. They just said it might be a little bit more difficult. So we're just trying to avoid that. But yeah, that's all for now. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure you leave them in the bottom. Till next time.